All right, listen up. If you're holding Bitcoin right now, 2026 is shaping up to be the year that could either make you look like a genius or leave you wondering what the hell just happened. We're talking about a year stacked with events that could send shockwaves through the entire crypto market. Having effects still rippling from 2025's wild ride, potential ETF tsunamis, regulatory earthquakes that'll make Wall Street sweat, and macroeconomic drama that makes your favorite Netflix series look boring. And if you're not positioning yourself now for what's coming in 2026, you're basically showing up to a gunfight with a butter knife. So buckle up, because what I'm about to drop is going to change how you think about your Bitcoin stack forever. Quick heads up, this is for educational and entertainment purposes only, not financial advice. Do your own research, folks, and consult a pro before making moves. Keep in mind, markets can change rapidly, and anything beyond early 2026 is speculative. Now, here's the deal. 2026 isn't just another year on the calendar. It's the year where everything we've been building toward in this Bitcoin cycle comes to a head. And most people? They're going to get blindsided because they're too busy watching meme coins do backflips while the real game is being played in the shadows. So let's break down exactly what you need to know, why it matters, and how to position yourself like you actually understand this game. First up, let's talk about the 800-pound gorilla in the room, the halving aftermath. The 2024 halving already happened, right? Bitcoin's block rewards got chopped in half, miner revenues got slashed, and the supply shock everyone predicted is now working its magic in the background like a slow-burning fuse. But here's what most people miss. The real fireworks from a halving don't pop off immediately. History shows us that the 12 to 18 months after a halving is when things get absolutely bonkers. We're talking 2013's explosive run, 2017's face-melting rally, and 2021's institutional stampede. So far, we've seen that play out with a peak around $120,000 in late 2025, but the supply squeeze could still influence 2026 with potential consolidation or even a fresh leg up. Remember, past performance isn't a guarantee and cycles can evolve. Demand will be ramping up and suddenly everyone and their grandma will be wondering why Bitcoin's doing that thing again. It's like planting a garden. You don't get tomatoes the day you drop seeds in the ground, you wait, you water, and then, bam, harvest season hits. 2025 was a big harvest, and 2026 could be the afterparty or the setup for the next one. But wait, because the halving aftermath is just the appetizer. Let's talk about something that could dwarf everything else. The institutional wave that started with Bitcoin ETFs in 2024 is about to turn into a full-blown tsunami by 2026. Think about this. Wall Street firms that spent a decade calling Bitcoin rat poison are now fighting each other like Black Friday shoppers to get a piece. BlackRock, Fidelity, and the rest of the suits are stacking sats through ETFs, and the floodgates are just getting warmed up. By 2026, we're looking at potential pension funds, sovereign wealth funds, and massive endowments finally getting off the sidelines. Why? Because the infrastructure is there, the regulatory clarity is improving, and FOMO is a hell of a drug, especially when your competitors are making gains and you're not. It's like watching your neighbor buy a house in 2010 and kicking yourself in 2015 when it doubled. These institutions don't want to be that guy. And here's the kicker. When institutional money moves, it doesn't tiptoe. It stampedes. We're talking billions, potentially trillions, flowing into a market with a fixed supply of 21 million coins. Supply and demand isn't just an economics textbook concept. It's your ticket to the show. Now, you'd think that's enough to get excited about, but oh no, we're just getting started. Because there's a plot twist coming that could change everything. Let's dive into the regulatory Thunderdome, with the 2024 presidential election ripples turning into action under the Trump administration. 2025 saw the U.S. embrace Bitcoin through things like the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve and new laws for digital assets, but 2026 could build on that with more comprehensive crypto legislation, or tweaks that keep things evolving. We've got Congress potentially passing comprehensive crypto legislation, and the SEC finally being forced to admit whether Bitcoin is a commodity, a security, or just something that keeps Gary Gensler up at night. Here's why this matters to you. Regulatory clarity could unlock institutional floodgates we just talked about, but regulatory hostility could trigger short-term chaos. Think about it like this. If the US continues its full freedom mode and builds on Bitcoin as a strategic reserve asset, we're talking moon mission. If they decide to go full control freak mode, we're talking volatility that'll make your stomach flip. Either way, being positioned and informed means you're not caught flat-footed when the hammer drops. And let's be real, the dollar is looking shakier than ever. National debt hitting $38 trillion, inflation eating paychecks like Pac-Man, and the rest of the world starting to wonder if dollar dominance is forever. Bitcoin is the escape hatch, and 2026 might be when mainstream America finally realizes it. If you're nodding along thinking about your own strategy and what's holding you back from going deeper into Bitcoin, what's one thing you're most worried about heading into 2026? Share in the comments. I'm curious what's on your mind. All right, now let's zoom out and talk about the macro picture, because Bitcoin doesn't exist in a vacuum. It exists in a world of economic chaos, geopolitical chess matches, and central banks printing money like it's Monopoly night. By 2026, we're potentially looking at recession fears, continued inflation battles, or even stagflation. That ugly beast where prices go up but the economy stalls like a cheap car. Research up to early 2026 shows no full recession hit in 2025, with steady but slowing growth around 2%, rising unemployment and softer wage gains, but keep an eye out as risks linger. Here's the thing. Every single one of those scenarios is rocket fuel for Bitcoin. Why? Because Bitcoin is the ultimate protest vote against broken monetary policy. When the Fed is stuck between a rock and a hard place, when your savings account earns less interest than inflation steals from you, and when Wall Street's rigged casino keeps dealing bad hands to regular folks, Bitcoin becomes the life raft. It's not controlled by Powell, it's not printed into oblivion, and it sure as hell doesn't care about your credit score. It's decentralized, it's scarce, and by 2026, it'll be impossible to ignore. So with all this insanity brewing, what do you actually do about it? How do you position yourself so 2026 isn't a year of regret but a year of victory laps? Here's your strategic playbook. First, stop overthinking and start stacking. Dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin between now and 2026 means you're building your position regardless of short-term noise. It's like buying real estate in a growing neighborhood. You're not timing the market, you're time in the market. Second, understand self-custody like your financial life depends on it, because it does. Owning Bitcoin on an exchange is like keeping your life savings in someone else's penthouse. Sure, it's convenient, but what happens when they lock the door? Self-custody is owning your own ranch. It's your keys, your coins, your rules. By 2026, when the stakes are higher and the market's hotter, you do not want to be the person scrambling because an exchange went belly up or froze withdrawals. Third, educate yourself relentlessly. The Bitcoin game is evolving fast. Lightning Network scaling, Layer 2 solutions, new use cases popping up like mushrooms after rain. The more you know, the better you can navigate what's coming. Ignorance might have been bliss in 2015, but in 2026, ignorance is expensive. Look, 2026 is going to separate the builders from the tourists, the hodlers from the panic sellers, and the informed from the clueless. Everything we just covered, the halving aftermath, the institutional avalanche, the regulatory showdown, the macro meltdown, and your strategic positioning, it all converges into one wild, potentially life-changing year. And you have the power right now to set yourself up for success. This isn't about getting rich quick. It's about understanding the game, respecting the technology, and positioning yourself intelligently for what's coming. Bitcoin doesn't care about hype. It cares about math, scarcity, and unstoppable code. And if you understand that, 2026 is going to be your year. So here's what I need from you. If this video just flipped a switch in your brain and you're ready to dominate 2026, smash that like button like you mean it. Subscribe so you're locked in for every Bitcoin truth bomb I drop. Hit that bell so YouTube actually tells you when I post. because the algorithm is sneaky. Share this with your crypto crew who need to hear this and drop a comment below. What's your boldest Bitcoin prediction for 2026? Let's get the conversation rolling. Now get out there, stay sharp, and I'll catch you in the next one. Let's make 2026 legendary.